Ahoy there, lads and lassies. Do not start arguing about politics in the comments. I will delete anything I see that is even remotely heated. Say whatever you want, but be respectful and take it to DMs if you're starting to have a debate. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. Most of your fellow viewers don't want to see or hear it. Greg doesn't want to see or hear it. Also, we don't do toxic positivity around here. We are neither constantly negative, nor are we corporate shills. We are level-headed human beings who can have nuanced feelings and opinions on things we like or don't like. And again, as long as you are not heated, you may express them here. Thank you very much. The 2 Nintendo Switch. $450 US. 70,000 Japanese yen, or 50,000 for the region locked set. 630 Canadian dollars, 400 British pounds, 470 euro, 700 Australian dollars, 6,800 Swedish krona. Mario Kart World, 80 US dollars digital and physical, 9,000 Japanese yen digital, 10,000 physical, 110 Canadian dollars digital and physical, 67 British pounds digital, 75 physical, 80 euro digital, 90 physical, 110 Australian dollars digital, 120 physical, 1,000 Swedish krona digital and physical. Do correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on any of those. I'm going off the info currently available as an American. Are these things worth their MSRPs? Is this really fair asking prices for a Nintendo home video game console and a first-party Nintendo video game in the year of our Lord 2025 with the current state of economies and lower and middle classes worldwide? In one sense, absolutely not. This is absurd pricing. Who do these people think they are to charge us this much? To try to get us accustomed to paying $80 a pop for video games? To try to get us accustomed to, well, actually, 450 isn't that crazy. For packing hardware akin to a PlayStation 4 Pro, which was introduced for what would today be over 500, into a little tablet, I mean, they could consider selling it at a loss and make the difference with software like Xbox always does, but still, $80 for the funny open world kart racer. Why is the industry trying to make this hobby so taxing on our wallets? We're already struggling to survive here. In another sense, this is absolutely fair pricing. The 2 is worth $450, 70,000 yen, 400 pounds. Mario Kart World is worth $80, 9,000 yen, etc., minus whatever discount you got in the bundle. And want to know why? Because goods are worth what people are willing to pay for them. Worth and value are subjective, abstract concepts. In a capitalist system, trying to gauge those concepts is the entire game. It's called market analysis. Supply and demand, people. You may not be fond of capitalism. I happen to be fond of it because of the incentive structure. You get rewarded for satisfying people. You get punished for not satisfying them. At least that's how it's supposed to work. But whether you like it or not, that's the game Nintendo has to play. All of the people taking to social media to complain about this, I don't think you realize this, or you're forgetting it in your frustration. And believe me, it's understandable frustration. I know the pain of feeling like I'll have to stretch to afford something I like, and it's easy to make the big corporation into the big bad guy. I say this as the CEO of a fictional big corporation myself. What you have to understand is that Nintendo has to play this market analysis, supply and demand game, and not only are they taking a serious gamble right now with those hefty price tags, but they and their investors are the only ones who can lose from it. The prices that you're looking at are the results of months of discussion, calculations, board meetings, market analyses. That's them trying to figure out how they can pay their employees, grow their company, and get their consoles and games into the hands of as many people as possible all at the same time. Although obviously greed is always a factor to some degree, corporate greed, or they just do it because they know they can get away with it, are not sufficient explanations, because not everyone is guaranteed to buy this console and these games. You might have forgotten this, but the Reddit mods, the Discord nerds, the YouTube comment trolls are not the only people they have to sell to. You are a tiny sliver of their install base. They have to think about grandma looking to get Timmy something for Christmas. They have to think about the teenager in college struggling to pay for his tuition and move out of his mom's. They have to think about middle-aged Dan looking for a hit of nostalgia without demolishing his paycheck. They have to think about your little cousin Ellis asking Mom or Aunt May to get her the game for her birthday. They have to think about these games. The very existence of their company depends on it. I'm laughing because of how preposterous it is. that I will hear people say Nintendo just charges whatever they want because they know people will buy it, and then immediately turn around and try to explain that no one can afford this stuff. You think Nintendo doesn't know that? They're the ones trying to sell the product, and they've been at it for decades. You know what the actual number of people is who would buy this rubbish no matter what they priced it? Look at the Wii U sales numbers. Everyone agrees that they failed to market this thing to the grandma and the middle-aged Dan and Aunt May and arguably the college teenager, and even still they definitely managed to sell it to a few ordinary people. Nintendo's worst-case scenario is worse than this. My point, if you haven't gotten it by now, is that it's not your responsibility to tell Nintendo to drop the price if you're just going to buy the blasted thing anyway. And if you're watching this video, I know you're at least trying to. You're wasting your time and your breath. If you pay a price for a console or game, you are telling the company and the market that you believe it is worth it. The way they actually hear you, the way they actually drop the price, is if people don't buy it. And again, the Wii U shows us that not everyone will automatically buy it. The potential for a boycott, whether someone organizes it or it just happens because no one can afford this stuff, is there. And everyone needs to take a step back. Take a big, deep breath. And wait for it to play out. Frankly, I'd wager that they probably know they're at a disadvantage going into this generation. Trying to sell what's just a more powerful version of the console everyone already owns for a higher price, especially when it's bigger and doesn't have a light version, so you're setting yourself up to just completely lose the handheld-only market? That is an uphill battle and a half. So really, I would implore you to take a massive chill pill, so to speak. Seriously reconsider whether you really have to buy the two Nintendo Switch, Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, the two Nintendo Switch editions of various games, the new Pro Controller, and what have you. Think about organizing an actual boycott if you're that upset about it. Seriously, it could work. You're not at Nintendo's mercy, they're at yours. That's the way the market works. It's just the incessant yelling and frustration and then subsequent inactivity I'm getting sick of. As long as you don't stop other people from getting the system, this is well within your means to do, and I'll be terribly curious to watch how it plays out. But if you opt to not do anything, you're getting this stuff no matter what, then take a seat. Put your mind to more important things, more enjoyable things. We can watch how this plays out together. Are we on the cusp of another Wii U disaster or a 3DS-style redemption arc? It's an exciting time to be alive either way. And by the way, while we wait, could you do me a quick favor and like and subscribe if you're enjoying? It'll only take a second. I'd really appreciate it. Now, I do want to make sure we're all on the same page regarding game prices specifically. Two things. Firstly, AAA video games have been $60 or more pretty much from the inception of the home console industry. Inflation has driven up the prices of consoles, but we have to consider ourselves very fortunate that the real cost of producing a video game, even as the games got bigger, that real cost has gone down over time enough to keep the inflated retail cost pretty steady until recently. When inflation grows faster than that real cost of production shrinks, which it has unprecedentedly over the last few years, you end up with more expensive products, regardless of whether it feels like a fair price. For all we know, Mario Kart World with the same effective development costs could have been 60 or 70 if it was 4 or 5 years ago. Secondly, I want to draw your attention to the fact that these are the only 4 new AAA games revealed for the 2 so far. We don't know the price of this one, though I wouldn't expect it to be anything more than like 30 or 40 USD, but this isn't enough data to establish quote-unquote new normal pricing for this generation. Fine, you can tack on some of the 2 editions, but keep in mind that's pretty much just DLC plus something that's always been a problem with Nintendo, which is never ever dropping the MSRPs of old games. So still, this doesn't necessarily tell us what to always expect going forward. You certainly cannot call $80 the new standard if Donkey Kong Bonanza, a very substantial looking game indeed, is only $70. This tells us that Mario Kart World is an outlier, a especially big game in their eyes. The new standard is $70 at most, and for all we know, maybe Bonanza is an outlier too. This could age poorly really quickly, but for all we know, the standard could still be $60, and we're just getting all up in arms over 2 early missteps. Again, I could be wrong, I just want to be a bit optimistic. As for my personal thoughts on everything, I'm getting the bundle. I love everything I see about the 2 Nintendo Switch, except for putting the 2 above the Nintendo Switch in the logo for some reason, and Mario Kart World has the potential to be the greatest game ever made. The soundtrack alone is worth $60 if you ask me, let alone the fact that it's simultaneously a 3D Mario game. Who comes up with this? I like the intermissions, though I hope there's a toggle for them in Grand Prix mode. They need to fix the point distribution for Grand Prix mode. Please watch this video by HD Rookie. Balloon Battle had better be pure elimination based. Wii Chain Chomp Roulette had better be in this after they put its music in the direct. Piranha Plant Pipeline and Dry Ruins had better come as DLC. Hashtag JFK, Justice for King. I cut off the direct reaction before I checked the website and saw the prices for everything, and yeah, that cratered my hype big time in the moment. But I'll tell you something. I find it absurd, preposterous, that the standard price for AAA video games was ever $60 to begin with. This stupid hobby has always been too expensive in my opinion. Maybe $50 for a quality game that'll last the average non-obsessive fellow for a few months of involved gameplay, and like half a decade of off and on gameplay, maybe longer with post-launch support. I think that makes sense. $50, not $60. I can't stand that people have been paying this much for this long, though we're even in this position to begin with. Mario Kart World should be like $65 at most, and that's pushing it. But I did just spend an entire video explaining why prices are what they are. I'm in no position to yell at anyone about the status quo if I'm just going to keep buying anyway. I am self-aware. That's just my opinion. I'm long past getting upset about the price myself. Again, if you want to organize a boycott, go ahead. Be my guest. I have a life, more or less, to get back to, and bigger fish to fry. Just keep it down with the drop the price nonsense. You're wasting everybody's time. If you ask me, the prices will come down. For all the reasons I mentioned above and more. One way or another, they'll come down.